We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
I may not be a millionaire. I may not have a brand new Frigidaire. My clothes ain't all fancy, and my car ain't brand new. But there is joy in my
Welcome to Join My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one is insignificant who says it.
I'm joined here by my co-host and recording artist Lolita Robinson.
Hi, how are you this morning?
Welcome to another day of Join My
Welcome
House.
to another day. It's kind of cool. This weather in California is crazy.
Is it? It's amazing.
Sunday I was baking and today I'm shivering.
I took the kids to the swimming pool yesterday.
Okay.
And yesterday evening, and now it's
I know it's
gloomy.
kind of rainy, so it's good to be here with my Coco and Van and you and our guest.
and our producer Van
Yay,
Eric.
hey,
Welcome
Van,
to the
all
show.
right,
Another
all
day,
right.
another Sunday.
I like his hair. He said it looks like an afro, but not to me.
We're gonna have to get a camera for him as well.
Yeah.
I want to thank you all the listeners and viewers out there who are tuning in to our show. We want to thank you for being a part of the joy that we have in our house. Remember to engage with us on Facebook /Joy in My House for up-to-date lineups of guests and info. You can also find us on latalklive.com and all of our archive shows, our past episodes on LA Talk Live. Just click on shows and click on Join My House and you can find us there as well. Don't forget, if you're just listening to us on iTunes genre R&B on LA Talk Live Radio, you can stream us live on any mobile device, on your BlackBerry, on your iPads, on your iMinis, on your iPhones, on Ustream.tv /Join My House or Ustream.tv.com /LA Talk Live. And our studio lines are always open.
Yeah, call us.
For those of you who have questions and comments,
Yeah.
engage with us. We want you to be a part of the joy that we have in our house as well as vice versa. So please engage with us. Our studio line is 323-247-7443. And
Now after you got all that out, are you tired? Let's good night. It's nice to see you.
and be blessed. Well, I'm very blessed. I want to
Yeah,
say, even
yeah.
through my loneliness sometimes or my challenges.
Yeah,
or
I
through
noticed
my,
that. You really are going through that. You said a couple of times, huh? You really are feeling that.
You know what? It's a tough gig.
Mm-hmm.
My martial arts master always used to tell me, when you're successful and you're thriving and you're constantly moving forward, it's very lonely.
Yeah.
Because it's tough to be in a process that's moving, and people who are not on board with that process tend to fall out.
They fall out. And then also you're more surrendered to Christ and you're doing, you're letting go of a lot of things. And I can see it. I can see it. And I'm proud of you for showing up, because I know sometimes when I'm in those places, like Friday, I was there. I just didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to lay down. But God gives His grace. So I know it's hard. So I want to just encourage you.
Well, you know what? But when I come here and I'm able to listen to some of our amazing guests on the show, which have an amazing guest today,
I know. I cannot wait.
they minister to me and they remind me to be grateful. They remind me to stay. They inspire me personally.
Yes, me too.
And it allows me to go another day.
I think how vast God is. I mean, the many personalities that He's had and the talents that people have had, but everyone has been so loving and so giving. It's just a real shout out to Him.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really, really is. How great He really is. How intricate and how powerful and how soft and gentle He is.
Yes, He is. Yes, He is. And I just love Him so much. And we want you guys out there too to know, I don't know what your religious background is. I don't know. But you know what? He is a real person. He loves you. And that's what we want to convey to you. No matter where you've been or what you've been through, He can take it and use it, can't He?
I believe that because He has for me.
Yes, He has.
He has for me. And I want to very quickly say Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, tell us what happened with that one.
I almost forgot that it was Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
So what I want to just say, you guys be safe out there. For those of you who are joining in the festivities today, drive safely. Don't drink and drive.
That's right.
If you don't have to, don't drink at all. But stay safe. If you're joining us out of service, thank you for being a part. I know that our church was having a little Cinco de Mayo event as well.
Yes, they were, because for our missionaries, they're having a bazaar. They're sending people to Africa and Ecuador, I believe.
Yes.
So
yes.
yeah,
So I'm very proud of my heritage. You know, I am Mexican, and my children know Spanish.
then why did you ask me and Lynn, who was going to come on too, and Van?
I guess I
Three
just want you
lovely
guys to
chocolate people. Should you announce it? I said, yeah, you should.
Well, I just wanted you guys to jump on the bandwagon and come on, bring some margaritas. And
Okay. Okay, John Baker, he said that. Not me. I'm in Celebrate Recovery.
But no, I do want to.
No, that's beautiful.
But I do want to know that I want people out there to know to enjoy the festivities.
That's
you know,
right.
celebrate.
And celebrate.
But be safe. You know, a lot of times these are excuses for us to act out
That's
sometimes.
right, that's
I know
right.
it was for me back in my past. I've been
Mhm.
sober 5 years now.
Good.
And I'm happy about it. Where before I couldn't wait to have a drink. I couldn't wait to go out and have a reason to do it. After a
Right.
while, I didn't even need a reason.
That's it. Just go and just be belligerent, right?
Pretty much that was it. So
Okay.
if you're out there, please be safe and know that, you know, it's not just for yourself, but for other people as well. And, you know, these people that come on the show really inspire me and remind me of that.
Okay.
And today we have a great guest
And his
by the name
family's
of
so
Lynn
beautiful.
Wells.
Barbara
He's here with his
and
wife,
Joanna. I
Bridal.
think that was her name. I
Yes.
believe so, yes. I'm looking forward to it. But don't forget about last week.
I do want to touch base on last week's show, Heidi Davis.
Heidi,
Wow.
oh, she was amazing. She
What
was so
amazing
humble and so
story.
nervous, but she got up there. Her story, I mean, the people could have really broken it. I wish we had like hours to let people really unleash. I mean, she's been through a lot.
And the peace that she had and the joy that she had
Yeah,
after
yeah.
everything she's gone through, you would never know it.
You would never know it. You would never know it.
But
That's
how,
what's
how
so
God
encouraging.
redeems. How
That's
God
why we
redeems.
call it joy in my house. There is joy in the midst of all this stuff, isn't there?
Yes, there is. So I want to remind you guys out there, listeners and viewers, we first want to thank you for being a part of our joy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to engage with us. Follow us on Facebook /Joy in My House. Follow us on Twitter /Joy in My
Mhm.
House. And follow us on LA Talk Live. And just so you know, LA Talk Live has an array of shows.
Yeah,
We're not
they
the only
do.
one. They
We're
have
a
about
part
over
of a
40
family.
shows.
We're a part of a family, even though we don't see one another, you know. Well,
Mhm.
Van makes us feel that way. And
Yes,
Rich,
and
you know.
Rich.
Yeah.
So engage with us. Find out about other shows that are on the network and engage with us at twitter.com /LA Talk Live. You
Mhm.
can tweet them directly as well. You know, be a part of the family that we have here, because I know for us, we're very close now, and we want you guys to engage with us as well.
And I want to say hi to Paul. He hasn't been around for a while. I know he's been busy behind the scenes.
Well, Paul Oble sits on the board of directors.
Yes, is he
is
coming
one of
on
the
again
directors
soon?
of
Paul,
talent.
Paul.
Paul has sent a lot of guests and a lot of
Yes.
amazing people to us, and
Yeah.
I do want him back, but I know that he's extremely busy.
I know he is.
He
But,
has an amazing web design
Yeah.
company who does all of our websites, and you know.
but you don't forget the people who are lifting you up in all this. So
That's right.
I can't wait for today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, pay some bills, and we're going to come back with Lynn Wells, Calvary Chapel Men's Minister Leader. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. Stay tuned.
Yay.
Are you ready to enjoy the Maui lifestyle? You can have it all by owning real estate on the Paradise Island of Maui. Dennis Rush, a 22-year Maui resident and real estate broker, brings his wealth of experience and market knowledge to add value to your Maui real estate understanding, providing a level of service as unique and exceptional as the island of Maui itself. The magical island of Maui was voted the most exclusive resort island in the world by Condé Nast Traveler, and keep in mind, Maui is only a simple, non-stop flight away. Hawaii Business Magazine Top 100 Realtors awarded Dennis Rush the 2011 fourth top realtor on the island of Maui. Go to www.dennisrush.com to view all of the amazing properties currently available in the Maui MLS system. Whatever your needs or desires, Dennis Rush will provide a private consultation for any Maui properties your heart desires. You will be in good hands. Once again, go to www.dennisrush.com. That's www.dennisrush.com. Contact Dennis today to start your Maui lifestyle now. Dennis Rush, proud sponsors of the Dawn Christie Show and LA Talk Live.
All of the ground is sinking,
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Joy in My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. I'm joined here by my co-host and recording artist and author of Shaped by the Master's Hand,
I'm glad to
Lolita
be
Robinson,
here. Every week I'm glad to be here and looking
Same
forward to this next session here.
and our in-studio guest,
Yeah.
Pastor Lynn Wells from
Yay.
Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. Welcome
Hello.
to the show.
Hey,
Thank
good to
you very
see
much.
you.
Thank you for having me here today.
We're glad
for-
to see
thank
you
for
here.
coming on board. I want to tell a quick story before we go into Pastor Lynn's story and testimony. I met him through his wife Barbara at the DMV
Boy,
in line.
that's amazing how God, he uses anywhere as his office.
that he does. She had Not of This World, which is
You're
a
wearing
Christian
it, right?
clothing
I am wearing it.
organization.
Mhm.
Proudly wearing it. There
That's
it
so
is.
cool.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
I love my wife. It's put
Okay.
out by Not of This World.
Put out by Not of This World.
Yes.
And Aurelio was on our show.
Awesome.
And he gave his testimony here. And as I was in line, it was the week before that he was on the show that I was in line at the DMV and saw your wife with the Not of This World phone case.
Mm.
And I said, oh, he was just on my show. So I knew that she was a Christian. And that was all we said about that. Then we started discussing, why we were there.
Mm-hmm.
They give us a ticket. They make us wait. There was no seats available in the whole DMV in Fullerton. So I went over to the side, and she kind of went over to the side as well. And we started talking why she was there. And she was telling me about her car situation for her daughter, and she had to get some paperwork done. And I was there to take the written test. And she told me the whole story of what was going on with the car situation. I told the whole story about I have to be here for my written test. And right at the end, she's like, you did mention you had an inspirational reality radio show. What is that? Just an inspirational show where we bring on inspirational guests to encourage people. And it's faith. It's not all of our guests are faith-based, but I'm faith-based. My co-host is faith-based. And she's like, my husband's inspirational.
I love it. I love that.
Gave me
That's
your number.
beautiful. Okay.
But I think it's God speaking to us.
Did you guys
at
get
times.
together? Did you?
We eventually did.
Okay.
But we missed each other several times. At one time, I called him up, and then he had to take his wife to the hospital. And I called him on a Thursday, and Friday, he's like, oh, you know what? I have to take my wife to the hospital. So we missed that Friday.
Well, he
The
can tell
following
me.
Friday,
What happened then?
The following Friday we
I
met.
can't. No, the following
No,
Friday,
the following Friday you.
I canceled.
Yeah, you canceled.
Okay, see, he's putting it all on you.
Of
Yeah,
course,
tell it.
it swings
No.
the other way.
But then we eventually did meet up, and we had a really long.
Awesome
Meeting.
time having a cup of coffee.
Okay.
And it was a wonderful time.
It really
Wonderful.
was.
Did you think it was strange how this interaction had you were all of a sudden going to be coming on a radio show? What did you think?
Well, you started by asking me if I thought it was strange.
Yes.
I know it was strange. There's not a doubt in my mind. I tell you, God works in mysterious ways. And when my wife came home and said, oh, honey, I met this great guy at DMV, I got a little bit concerned. And then she told me that. And then she told me what was going on. And I said, well, why did you give him my name? Why
Why you throw me under the bus?
I don't have anything to say, but of course,
Wow.
my wife is my best hero.
You know.
And
yeah, that says a lot.
behind every bad man is a great woman.
Mm-hmm.
So,
How many years have you two been married?
a very short 38 years.
Oh, wow.
Very, very
Wow,
short.
that says a lot. If she could say you're inspirational after 38 years.
38 years.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
well,
it.
you know, she drank a little bit of the coffee that I made on Saturday mornings. So, yes, we have
wow.
a great life together.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so
Well,
cool.
let's get into the story. I'm going to start, at the beginning, at your family of origin.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just tuning in, we're here with Lynn Wells, pastor of men's ministries from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills. You have an amazing story.
Yeah.
I mean,
Heard a little bit about
there was
it.
so much. I mean, we had a coffee for like an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes. His wife called him and he's like, "Oh, I'm still here."
Well, I'm
He
listening.
had
I'm
so
looking
much to
forward to
share.
hearing it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit? Where did you grow up?
Well, we grew up in a town, I guess it's a middle-sized town in Newport News, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in 1950,
Okay.
and I was one of two. In other words, I was a twin,
Oh, really?
and my twin sister died at birth. I was
Wow.
told I weighed 3 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
I was born 3 months early,
Mm-hmm.
and I should have been a statistic.
Wow. Yes,
But
you
God
got it.
had other plans.
Yes, he did.
And during that time, apparently, I forgot. I have a birth mom, and then I have a mom that raised me.
Okay.
And so,
Were you put up for adoption?
well, we didn't have adoptions in 1950.
Okay.
The lady who, my birth mom, was in this, when my mom that raised me, we
Mm-hmm.
were in the same room together. My birth mom, apparently I'm one of 8 kids.
Wow.
And so my mom who raised me had just had a miscarriage.
What?
And the other lady in the room,
You mean after you were born?
yes. And so they
Wow.
put a lady with a miscarriage in the same room with
With
the
a
lady
woman
who
with
had
eight-
just had
8
baby.
kids.
Yes.
Wow.
And her name was Coretta, the lady that my mom's name is Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
And so Catherine and Coretta got into a conversation. As it turns out, Catherine says, "I wish I had a baby."
Oh.
Coretta said, "You can have my baby."
What?
At which I was handed over to Catherine.
Oh, that's amazing.
So in the hospital for three months. And when it was time for me to come home, both Catherine and Coretta met at the hospital. And
Well, were there
Coretta-
some fathers and husbands here?
There wasn't on my side.
Okay, what about on Catherine's side?
Catherine's side, apparently there was, but
Whatever.
whatever. He
Okay.
wasn't in the picture.
Okay, well, God did his thing. That's amazing.
Yes. My mom had, Catherine had been pregnant, had gone in and had a miscarriage.
Mm-hmm.
And the neighbors, apparently there's a neighbor I know very well that relates the story that validates, yeah, she went in and then they knew it hadn't been 9 months, but she came home with a baby. That was
Oh,
me.
wow.
So it was a great opportunity for me to be placed in a home where I got loved on and cared for and raised.
Were they Christians, the house?
My mom, but Catherine is a Pentecostal preacher.
Oh, boy.
And that's where I get all my soul,
Oh,
all my rhythm.
wow.
So that was that's how we got started.
Uh-huh.
Subsequently, stayed in Newport News till I was 18 years of age.
Were there other brothers? Oh, you were the only child. So
I
she
was the
never-
only child. Catherine did then adopt one more young man,
Mhm.
but he just kind of was in and out of the picture in my house. So it was mainly me and mom, and my dad was an alcoholic,
Oh, wow.
and so
okay.
he was in and out of the picture as well.
Okay.
And your mother held 3 jobs while raising you, correct?
Mom did not believe in any kind of government subsistence,
Mm-hmm.
and she taught us how to work hard. When I say us, myself mainly, but how to work. And
What kind of jobs was she doing?
Mom was a practical nurse.
Goodness.
I call them LPNs, I think
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
then. And so she would work night job. She did a cleaning job. She worked in the cleaners during the day. And then she cleaned houses just before, say, around in the afternoon or something like that.
My
So
goodness, boy. Is Catherine still there?
Catherine passed away in 1993 or 94. I
Oh,
believe.
the only reason why I ask is Mother's Day is coming up. You talking about a powerful woman.
She's an awesome woman.
Boy, there's
Yeah,
a lot
she
of
was.
people, like you were saying, behind every man is a woman. But, when you have a good, godly mom or someone who steps in the trenches for you, that's an incredible story.
Yeah, she had nothing but a boat of love. I mean, boat full of love, and just always encouraged me to do the best I could. She gave me all the work ethics that I had. Work hard. I was also raised during the civil rights time, and so I can remember Martin Luther King coming to our town. And
Really? You saw him?
well, I didn't get to see him because it was too crowded in the auditorium.
Right, right.
But he did come, and I can remember one of his exhortations to us was if you had one pair of pants, one shirt, you washed it every day, you ironed it, and you put it on for the next day. He was all about dignity, integrity.
See, that was good.
And,
Good foundations that
yes.
a lot of these kids are not getting today.
No,
They're
we
not
miss
getting
it.
that.
We
We're
miss it
missing
nowadays.
You know?
Absolutely.
But there was something I wanted to get to. Because your mom had such good work ethic and because she worked 3 jobs, there was some neglect, correct?
There was some neglect, yes. Mom got, there was a period of time around when I was 6 years old when my mom had not only working, but she got ill and she had to be hospitalized. And during that time, she left us at home.
You and the brother who was floating in
Yes,
and out.
yes.
Okay.
We were at home, and my dad, or her husband, was supposed to be taking care of us, but he was an alcoholic, so he was gone. And so he had left the house for 2 weeks.
Oh, what? And you guys were
And
there?
so my neighbor found us eating out of the garbage can,
Oh.
eggshells, bones, whatever we could get.
Wow.
That is amazing.
But
Well, what about Coretta? Coretta?
yeah, Coretta was out of the picture from the time she dropped.
So you never met her again, or never
met her again.
Uh-huh.
I guess I should tell you, I didn't find out about Coretta until I was 43 years of age.
We'll get to that
Okay,
part.
all right, okay.
Let's continue
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I don't want to get ahead of the
Because
story.
I did want to mention one
These
thing
are real
about your
no-
mother.
Yeah.
About your mother. And I remember when we spoke, this stood out to me that your mother never told us she loved you.
She absolutely, that was very hard. Mom, in those days, you know I love you because I work hard for
That's
you.
what that was the message. I'm in the 50s too.
Yes,
They
that was
they
the
worked
message.
for you. You had food and a covering that
covering.
you ought to know.
Exactly. Food over, a roof over your head.
That's right.
And food on the table.
That's it.
You know I love you.
That's right.
And that was the way that went. So you didn't get much encouragement or hugs. I don't remember too many hugs from Mom.
Well, how did you feel as a child coming up with that?
Well, if you don't know what you're missing, you're doing okay.
You know,
That's true.
that's a good point.
It wasn't until I got married that I discovered that we
didn't
are
know what
supposed
you
to
were
hug.
doing.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Had not a clue what I was doing until.
Barbara, we're gonna get you here one day. I'm telling you now.
Well,
No, I don't make light.
forward.
That's pretty heavy.
That is, and,
Yeah.
and it keeps going because at the age of 13, you got a job.
Yes, that was my mom. Mom said as soon as you're able to work, you help pay the bills, and so it meant paperboy route up until 13. And at the age of 13, I got my first real job. I was working in a bookstore, but as it turned out, Mom never discovered it. It was a pornographic bookstore.
Oh my goodness.
Newspaper front. So we
What?
sold newspapers, but underneath the counters and on the back side.
They were
In
all
the rooms, it was
okay.
all the
Wow.
material that you needed. Back in those days, we didn't have computers. You had books and paperback magazines and the likes. And so I got exposed to that at
Oh,
13 years of age.
boy.
Wow.
So that was a stronghold already set up right there, huh?
It was. Went to church on Sunday and couldn't wait to get to the books on Monday
Yeah.
Wow.
through
Yeah.
Saturday. But Mom insisted that we work, and so I did just that. But that was
What were you doing? I mean,
well,
passing
behind
out
it-
the books or
But
what?
no. You didn't have to come in and tell the boss that you wanted one of those books. So he kind of took care of that side.
Oh, so okay.
But
so
mine was selling newspapers and whatever
okay.
condiments or
But
anything
you know how
else.
kids are. You found the
Uh,
stash.
well,
of
my
goodies, yeah.
the owner made sure that we knew. He said you're going to get exposed to this anyway one of these days. So at 13, he made sure that we saw the pictures, read the books, and did whatever
Wow.
because he wanted us to have that exposure. He felt that was his.
Isn't that something? Well, when you don't have a man in the house, a
That's
father
what's
there to
exactly.
direct you, which I know is going to come out later, and how God used that
Yes.
for the ministry that you're in today.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to get ahead of the story.
Let's go into growing up a little couple years later down the line. You're in
Mm-hmm.
high school.
Ah,
At
yeah.
this time, your high school was segregated.
Yes. Huntington High School in Newport News, Virginia was a segregated high school.
Mm-hmm.
Elementary and high school was segregated. My last year, or next to my last year in high school, we then got our first Caucasian teachers. And,
The teachers came to the school.
came to the school.
Okay.
first.
In
We
all
never
black
had-
school.
All black school.
Shut up.
All black school.
Boy,
And so it was very hard to
pretty
find.
powerful.
Yeah, it was. It was. We didn't know. I mean, all of our books came from the other side of town.
Mm-hmm.
When the white schools finished the books, then they shipped the books over to Huntington High
Mm-hmm.
School. So we had secondhand school books. So it's very hard to get that knowledge base and get grounded like you should in high school because our information was at least 3-4 years behind.
I bet.
And so,
How was it to have white teachers all of a sudden?
well, they look kind of weird to me, actually. Didn't quite know what to do with them, so I just went up and touched one just to make sure. But it was
How
a
beautiful
different
on their
experience.
part. That had to be something really from the heart.
It did. It
That-
was. You
that's
know,
not
those
something
teachers.
They must have
they were
really
very
God,
serious.
God sent those
Yes.
teachers.
But we had great teachers. I mean, even before we got integrated, the teachers taught from the heart.
Yes.
And they were always teaching there would be a better day, there would be a better opportunities. Your best bet is to get an education.
Wow.
Did you
And
love the
so-
Lord during that time at all? Or were you
Absolutely
confused?
not. I'd love to tell you I did. But being raised in a
This
Pentecostal
man is hilarious.
home, it was one of those things where I didn't want to have much to do with God. The God I knew was the one that said you didn't smoke, you didn't drink,
You didn't, party, you didn't, do anything.
party, but yet
And you didn't smile. You
and
just
you just went through life.
Yep.
But at the same time, you saw that breakdown when after church, everybody partied, everybody drank, and
So
so
it's confusing. It's
Yeah,
all
it's
get up and
conflicting,
go.
yes.
So you didn't want any part of it.
no.
Okay.
But what you wanted to talk about, or what I wanted to just kind of mention, was during that very difficult time of growing up in high school. I think every kid comes to a point where they want to know, who am I? Why am I here? What am I meant to do?
Right.
And there was a period of time that I too went through the very same thing. And I think in about 15 or 16, I locked myself in a room for about 2 weeks with a yellow legal-sized pad and began to just write everything that I could imagine on this paper, trying to figure out who I am, where am I going, and why I'm here.
So you introspective type of thing?
Yes, yes. Kind of
Questions about who you were.
soul-searching.
Did you kind of feel like maybe you didn't fit in this family?
Oh, well, I didn't.
Some adopt kids that have a
Yeah.
sense. Did you have that?
I didn't have that sense. I was a little slow when it came to that.
Okay, but you felt
what I
something
did
different.
sense was,
Yeah.
I read ferociously for many, many years, from age 13 to 18. I would read up to 6 or 7, 8 books because we were part of the boys' club, and that's where you went and got books. And so I was one of those that were locked into reading. And once reading opens the universe to you.
It does.
And you
It
can
does, doesn't it?
then
Yes.
begin to wonder, well, these stories, where are they taking place? And so it was a time for me. That's when I began to really soul search and find out, why am I here? What's going on? So after that, it was a bit of a cathartic, if you will. You just get all of that out
But without God.
without God.
Okay, I get
Without
you.
God.
I can understand.
Really thinking about maybe I shouldn't be here and those kind of issues that
Mm-hmm.
young kids have. I went through those. But writing it down and and then looking at it, I can remember that when I finally got to the final page, I just folded the book, looked
Mm-hmm.
at it, and I got up and went about my life.
And what happened in that? You just felt
Well, I
afraid
got
of
it all out.
You got it all out,
Yeah, and
out
then
of your
I
head on the
cleared my
paper.
head.
Okay.
And then I decided that I wanted to go into medicine, and so that's where that started, that desire, right after I wrote that.
Oh my goodness.
Well,
I didn't
because-
know any of that.
Because
This is-
during high school, you were bullied and you had a low GPA.
Yeah, I weighed 77 pounds in ninth grade,
oh boy.
and I was the one that was considered the ugliest in the class, the one that everyone wrote notes about and passed them around,
man.
and then of course I just had mom, so it was secondhand clothes, secondhand shoes, and so yeah.
And she's busy working,
And
so
she's
she didn't want
busy
to hear
working.
that thinking,
Not-
honey, get on down
Just
the
get on,
road. I don't
get
have time for that.
Exactly.
You know,
and so it was
yeah.
a little difficult there.
Well, let's fast
Gosh.
forward. After high school, you joined at 20 years old. You joined the Navy to avoid the draft.
I joined the Navy to see the world, and they stationed me 30 miles from home. I have yet to forgive them for that. They will not be forgiven for that mistake.
Well, I know I want to get that, but how did you deal with the bullying?
Well, the bullying was you just came home. I can recall just coming home and getting
they would
into my
beat you up and
books.
stuff?
Just coming home and getting into my books. My mom, I told her one day that I was getting bullied, and she sent me a note, told me to give it to my gym teacher.
Oh, that probably made it worse. Huh?
You do not want to take a note from your mom to your gym teacher. That does
what we
not
do.
have a good outcome.
That's what we do.
Mama said somebody beating up her baby. I took that note and tore it up and
Oh, wow.
just dealt with it as I
was
had
cracking
to.
up. I guess
I hear
as a
you.
man,
As,
huh?
as men, we deal with it
We
a
deal
lot
with
more
it.
different.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
wow, wow.
But you did get stationed 30 miles from home, and that is where you actually had your first drink.
I did get stationed 30 miles from home, joined the Navy, see the world, went to Waukegan, Illinois for 2 years.
I don't mean to
and
laugh,
then
but that's hilarious.
Brought me back to Portsmouth, Virginia, and I fought that furiously. I mean, it was the last thing in the world. Who wants to be stationed 30 miles from home?
Brandon is cracking up, shaking his head.
And then that's like the Navy, you know. I asked for.
Oh, here comes Brandon. He's gonna get.
Van's gonna chime in because he can relate. So.
That is so sad. I don't mean to laugh. God had his hand on you all.
Yes, I can relate to that because when I went to the recruiter down in Center City, Philadelphia, the recruiter said, "Oh, well, I can send you to Fort Dix, New Jersey." I said, "Man, if you send me to Fort Dix, New Jersey, the first time the drill sergeant says something that I don't like, I'm going home. Send me somewhere where there's no way that I can get home, no matter what. I can't walk home. I can't get on the bus. I can't get on no train.
That's right.
Send me somewhere else so I understand that."
That's hilarious.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's one of those unforgivable moments.
You can't even
know.
brag to your sons.
No,
I went to
30
abroad.
30 miles from home. Asked for overseas duty. Asked for Vietnam. I asked for Diego Garcia. I asked for everything, and it all got turned down. But that's to say that God had a divine plan.
Yes, he
Right.
did.
He had a divine plan,
Wow.
and that plan was, no, Lynn, I need you back in Portsmouth. But I did, when I got to Portsmouth, I was a little bit fighting everybody and mad at the
drinking.
world.
And you're drinking, of course.
And that's when I got introduced to drinking. Fortunately, that drinking career was very short-lived, and smoking.
Why? Because you couldn't tolerate alcohol.
I hated the smell of alcohol, let alone the taste of it.
Oh my God.
I was not bred for that, and thank goodness. But in the meantime, it was like trying everything,
Yeah.
and you
You
try on
wanted
a
to
drink.
be so
and try,
tough
yeah,
and everything, you know.
yeah. I mean, I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, but I could look cool in my 48-inch bell bottoms and my drink and my little,
76 pounds.
yeah, 70, 80 pounds. It was so hard. I joined. I had to weigh 100. I think it was 110 to join in the Navy.
Oh wow.
And the day I went and was recruited, I weighed 109.
Wow.
So they told me I had to go out and eat. So I went out and ate all the hamburgers, drank all the milkshakes, and I still came out a quarter of a pound short.
Boy.
But the recruiter lied,
Oh wow.
so I could get in the Navy.
Man, this is
Nice.
oh man, that's too much. That's too much.
So it was.
Well, this
It was
was
an experience.
this was one of your first bottoms. You actually cried out to God and asked Him for 5 things.
Absolutely. When you're in the Navy and you're hanging out with your homies, your naval buddies, we had one, I can recall, just bad nights, and so we all went out and had one of those nights to paint the town. Fortunately, the town wasn't paintable at that time, but we went out and tried our best to do what we could. And we come home with some young ladies, and that didn't work well. But I do recall after that, just shortly, a couple of nights later, I'm in my same apartment, watching a movie that was called The Imitation of Life. And in
Oh,
that
I remember
movie,
that.
the main star...
Wasn't it
yes.
the girl, her daughter was white? Or,
Yes,
Mixed?
Mahalia Jackson
I remember
was
that.
was one of the characters,
Yeah.
and she dies, and her role is to die.
Yeah,
Her daughter then comes running after the casket,
right,
pleading with her mom not to die.
right.
Not to leave her. And that movie left me completely empty. And in that room at that night, I cried out to God. I
That's
don't know if you're
interesting.
real. I don't know how to find you, but I've got a list of things. If you're real, I want you to do these things. One was to send me a girl from California. Remember, I'm stationed in Portsmouth. Send me a girl from California.
You know,
Because
what,
I
not
heard,
Mackies.
no. I heard those California girls were very outgoing and lovely and beautiful. I wanted that girl to be a Christian,
All right. Wow.
and I wanted that girl to lead me to Him.
Oh.
I wanted her to like sports, and she had to have nice legs.
Oh my goodness! You put this list out.
I put that list
He's a
out
personal guy. We're not making light of it, but he took you. He, like they say, he meets you where you are.
right where I was. I mean, that was the
Yes,
only
he
thing I
does.
could do was to cry out. I didn't do well with guys, and so that's the reason I asked for a young
All
lady.
your plans struck out: smoking and drinking, and
Just it.
going abroad. Like,
None-
Lord, I give up.
I
What-
give up.
What do
Here-
you want me to do?
Whatever you want me to do, you
Yeah.
got to have these things in it.
Right.
And he supplied it about 30 days later, and watched this girl from California. She was stationed in Portsmouth, and the rest is history.
Are you kidding? Barbara was in the service.
Yes, she was in the Navy. She came in.
Oh.
We were in the Navy, and one day this girl walked in from
Oh,
California.
She's
She was
adorable
new.
people. She's adorable.
I was working as an OR tech, and I was one of the kingpin, if you will. And, and
Oh,
so
you're the bookman. So
I
now
was-
you is in your league now.
I had it going then, and
Okay,
so
all
she
right.
walks in as a student, and she was from California. Word quickly got around if you wanted to date her, you had to go to church with her.
Oh, what?
That was the word in the operating room.
Wow.
And she had gorgeous legs, as
Oh.
I can attest to.
That's so
Thin,
beautiful.
thin.
Oh,
And,
no, I didn't know. You'd been not
Those legs are still good, but in addition to that,
That's how you get your mates,
that's-
people.
There you go.
Forget any harmony. Just make a list.
just make a list, and
That's it.
I encourage
But there's
that.
a funny
Oh,
story
that's
because
great,
you
though.
actually even fought that.
Oh, you
Nah.
fought that when she showed up?
Oh.
Oh no, for the date.
Oh yes,
There's a great story right here.
What
yes. Is that the date where?
The Christmas.
That's
Oh,
like
yes.
him asking about Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't know which day it is.
Well, actually, what we had done then. Cinco de Mayo. I like that one.
Yeah, well, what day it is, and you tell us.
Well, it was Christmas, and she invited me to go sing Christmas carols. But little did she know that I felt that if I went to sing Christmas carols with a bunch of Christians, I was going to become one.
Well,
So
yeah.
for me, it was a debate. Should I go or should I just forget about it? And it was also God reminding me,
What you
you
said.
know, Lynn, you made me a promise. I'm going to hold you to that promise.
Mm-hmm.
And now it was starting to get very serious. My walk with God, that is.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she invited me to go to singing Christmas carols, to me, that was God saying, I got you. Now,
And the thing that's beautiful is you didn't stipulate what race,
no,
nationality.
I left that part out.
He
You
left
know, that
God,
was,
you pick her. And what does he bring? you?
yeah, he bring me this gorgeous lady, had all the things that I was looking for, and she was about as pale as the sunshine, with long black hair. And I looked at God and go, okay, this will work.
How we gonna do this? though, you
We're
know?
gonna get this done. And
That's beautiful.
that's how I we
That's-
went. What I Christmas Carol thing was a pivotal moment in my life
Mm-hmm.
because my roommate and we didn't want to go. She invited both of us, and so we figured we'd get busy and play basketball. And that was my sport.
Mm-hmm.
We'd play basketball all night Friday and then forget. And the day we went to the gym to play basketball, everybody was there until 5 o'clock, and they all left. We're supposed to be there at 7, so that left us with 2 hours.
But
My-
you didn't stop there.
No,
you
no.
didn't stop
Oh,
there.
boy.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, my
I mean,
goodness.
the whole gym emptied. It never emptied. That night, the whole gym, all my homies, see you later, man. We got dates, we got places to go.
Oh boy.
So my roommate and I were looking at each other and said, "Okay, I tell you what we do. Let's play ping pong."
Oh my God. So you wouldn't have to go.
So
to
we
the
wouldn't have to
carol.
go do it. So we played ping pong for an hour and 55 minutes.
And that's
55.
boring. I'm sorry.
At which time we looked at each other and we could not put it off anymore. And so he looked at me, I looked at him, and he says, let's put the paddles down on the table. And on the count of 3, we run.
Just run away.
Just run to the church where they were meeting
Okay.
so that we wouldn't change our minds. Otherwise, we were going to change our minds.
Okay.
So we looked at the clock, and on the count of 3, we put down the paddles, put down the ball, and we ran
Oh, my
to where they were
goodness.
meeting to go sing Christmas carols.
Oh,
Now, that's all we did was sing Christmas carols.
But you knew.
I knew
You
because
knew after
1
all what
month
God has
later,
done in your life, you knew. that
1 month later, she led me to the Lord.
Oh, what a
Of
story.
course, after Christmas carols, the next thing she does is say, "You want to go to Bible study with me?"
Well, we're going to stop right there
We
because
gotta-
it
it's a
gets good
cliffhanger.
here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in my house. We're going to
Oh.
go to a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have Lynn Wells tell us what happened after his accepting to Christ and meeting his future wife, Barbara. This is Joy in my house, ladies
Oh,
and
my
gentlemen. Stay
goodness.
tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Join My House, inspirational reality radio show with a touch of recovery. A reality radio show where nothing is left unsaid.
And no one, believe me, is insignificant who says it.
I'm joined here by recording artist Lolita Robinson and author of Shaped by the Master's Hands, and our in-studio guest,
Oh,
Pastor Lynn
goodness.
Wells from Calvary
Still here? Still
Chapel,
here?
Chino Hills.
Man, my nose, this man's cracking me up. The story is amazing.
If you're just joining us, Pastor Lynn is sharing with us his character building steps to getting to where he is now. And if you missed it, please catch the recap of the show on latalklive.com and click on shows, and you can watch our archive shows, or you can find us on Facebook /Join My House. Become a fan and get up-to-date lineups of guests and info. You're not going to want to miss this last segment
Oh,
with Pastor Lynn
goodness.
Wells from Calvary Chapel. Now, you met Barbara, and obviously you went running as fast as you could
To sing
to
Christmas
sing
carols.
Christmas
Yes,
carols.
to go sing Christmas carols.
And next she invites you to Bible study.
And then, of course, you know, they reel you in with something nice, which was and innocent, which that was. And then I think about 3 weeks later, she invites me to come to Bible study. It was called The Family.
Oh, okay.
And it was a group that met on the base.
Mhm.
And they had a Bible study every Tuesday night. I think it was Tuesday night. And so that's where we had it off. I need to give you just a little bit. I'm going to throw my wife under the bus real quick. One of the things we do is I work in the operating room. At that time, I was one of her teachers.
So you were in medicine now?
Yes.
Okay.
In the
'cause we
Navy,
kind
we
of-
were in the, I was a OR tech in the Navy. And that's where I met Barbara
Okay.
in Portsmouth as an OR tech. And I was one of the chief OR techs at the Portsmouth Naval Base. Now, Barbara will never tell you quite the way that I see it, but after I found out that she was one of those young ladies that was a Christian and that she loved the Lord, I saw her walking down the operating room
She's
corridor.
cracking up. What was
I was
she-
coming in from the north and she's
cracking up.
coming from the south, and we were in this corridor. And I had never done this before, but I had decided when I saw her that was after she invited me to go to Christmas carols. I said, that young lady is very attractive.
Okay.
So she's walking in the hallway, and there's only the two of us, and we're walking towards one another. And I said that if she keeps walking
Oh my goodness.
in this same direction and she doesn't move, I'm not going to move. I'm in line to run right into her, at which I decided I'm going to plant a big one on this young lady.
No, you didn't.
I absolutely did. She kept walking. I kept walking. She didn't move. I didn't move. She walked right up to me. And then we hadn't even said hello a couple of times when I looked at her and I kissed her.
This was before
Wow.
Bible study?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
So that only served to say I've got to get to know this lady even more. So
yeah, I
yes,
guess so.
that
You
did.
sealed it with a kiss. when
That
you
I
do
sealed
that.
it with a kiss, sealed the deal. I was ready to go to Bible
Oh,
study.
That's beautiful. That's too.
Wow.
That's not
But-
throwing her under the bus. I think that's cool. She's.
Well, wait until he tells you the story of him giving his life to Christ.
Yes,
Oh, my goodness.
she invited me to Bible study. That
Right.
Bible study was there was a speaker there from I think Campus Crusade for Christ,
Mhm.
and afterwards it was the story of who's on the throne of your life.
Mhm.
And I knew where I stood. I knew that I needed Jesus Christ to be on the throne of my life.
Mhm.
And so afterwards, my wife met with me. We sat down on the stumps of the church or chapel we were meeting. And she said, would you like to go through this booklet? It was the 4 spiritual laws.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that track.
So she took me
Yeah.
through the 4 spiritual laws, and she get to page 10, and then on page 10 it is how to pray the sinner's prayer.
Yeah, I remember.
I went all the way through it. I recognized I had a need for Jesus Christ.
Okay.
I knew that God loved me. I knew that I needed God in my life,
Mhm.
and I knew that Jesus was a mediation between a sinful man and an awesome and a holy God.
Mhm.
So I'm ready. And she said, she gets to that part, and she said, would you like to read this prayer? I said, of course. She looks at me and looks at the book and go, let me start over again. So
Why?
she
But
started over again
she didn't
because it
think
was
you
too
got
easy.
it?
She didn't think I got it. It was way too easy.
Were your eyes glassing over?
Yeah.
She figured, oh, he's just trying to get
No,
to
I was absolutely paying attention. I was
Wow.
very low-hanging fruit. Now, you have to remember,
low hanging fruit.
I call it low-hanging fruit. She didn't have to work hard. Jesus had
Wow.
already...
But he had really been touching your heart.
He had touched my heart. He had pulled me.
Well,
I
some
knew
of those
I needed
fruits
to
that your mom had, Catherine
Absolutely.
had planted, you know.
Absolutely. She planted some seeds.
She sure did, yeah.
In spite of this, me trying to get those seeds run over
That's
and
right.
thrown out. But The seeds were planted. I knew
Okay.
that there was a God. I just didn't know how to find him. So she went through the whole booklet again, got to page 10, and she says, now, do you want to pray and receive Christ? I said, absolutely.
Oh.
We prayed, received Christ. She asked me afterwards, do you know what you have done? I said, according to the booklet, I've asked Jesus Christ to come into my life. She said, do you know what that means? I said, yes, it means that he's the Lord of my life.
Wow.
That has not changed since that
Oh,
day.
that's beautiful. That's
God is
beautiful.
awesome.
That
Well, we're
is
in a
awesome.
series at our church, at Bridges Church, about making disciples
Mhm.
and what that means. And your wife made you a disciple.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
discipled you.
that's what she told me. I'm the first and the last. She kinda
She's a success. She's a successful missionary date because that's kind of risky.
It is risky.
Because sometimes the missionary dating does not help. Does not. You get involved with people, but her heart was right, and
Her heart was
walk
right.
was right, and she let it known. Look, before you even come looking this way,
Yeah.
you're gonna know the Lord.
Absolutely, and I had a
Yeah.
healthy fear of God right after that.
Okay.
Because right after that we went out and we had dinner, and I was so afraid I wouldn't even sit next to her on the couch because
You knew God was talking about marriage.
if you mess with this woman, you're gonna get in
Okay.
serious trouble.
So you have a lot
I-
of respect for her.
a lot of respect for
Yeah,
her,
that's
more
beautiful.
respect for God.
And see, ladies out there, don't be afraid, because most times, I shouldn't say all the time, you know the Lord, and the man you're with might not, but don't be afraid.
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree. And
Right.
we were saying during the intermission that list that I made, I encourage single men to make a list of the qualifications they'd like to have in a woman, and a woman to make a list of what she's looking
Yeah,
for
Barbara
in a
says
man.
she made a list and that you fit the criteria.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I
until
don't know
after I
how you were
married her.
such a knucklehead.
I know.
I'm kidding.
No, I was.
She didn't want a man that was too seasoned over. See, she didn't want a man that's been traveling abroad and dating all the Italian women. She wanted a homegrown man, and
Oh, I
God
was
kept
pretty
me here.
homegrown. I was homegrown. Wasn't going any place anytime
See?
soon.
30
See, God-
miles station.
30 miles
See,
from
God
home.
knew. God knew.
But it was an
No, this is-
awesome time,
that's
and
an awesome
and I
story.
can see God's hand in the entire process
Well,
there.
how long before you were married after that?
Well, I knew that night that I loved her.
Mhm.
Now I know that sounds kind of
No,
iffy, but I knew the minute that I saw her
She was
after
it.
that night that she was going to be my wife,
Mhm.
and so I think I asked her to marry me 2 weeks later,
Wow.
and we waited about a year to get married.
Now it is an interracial situation.
and I wanted
Yes.
to
So
mention
you
that.
gotta, So what
At
was that
that
like at that
time,
time?
in that
This was the 50s,
place
right?
in
Or
Virginia.
60s?
1975.
Oh, 75. Okay.
Yeah, the civil rights had just passed in
It
the
wasn't
early
as bad.
70s.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad.
And
but,
so
yeah.
Virginia, though, did have a law against interracial marriages.
in the 70s.
It had just got abolished in 70 or 71.
Mhm.
And so when we walked up to get our marriage license, we did not get a very warm reception.
Wow.
Got a lot of strange eyes, but my wife was happy, and I was just going along because I knew just what God wanted us to do.
How faithful of both of you. How brave of both of you.
Mhm.
Not only to be in love, but to be in love with God as well and to walk that.
Yeah, I mean, we were told. I remember several friends in the Navy said, first of all, don't get married, but if you do get married, don't have kids
Because they
Wow.
will suffer. Right?
because they would suffer and they
Right.
wouldn't know who they were. And of course, none of that is true.
No,
I've
it's
got
not.
Awesome kids. And
Oh, and they're beautiful. Well, from Joanna, I can see. I mean,
Yeah. That-
and I'm so mad that you had those sons that I never got to meet any of them. All these wonderful police officer,
Police
Oh, you got
officer, fireman,
oh,
and
ladies. And what's the other one? A police. He's in the Marines.
I got a police officer, I've got a fireman, and then I've got a son who's an Air Force colonel,
I'm
lieutenant
telling you,
colonel.
okay, God came through. Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to fast forward
Yeah.
to some of your accolades,
Yeah.
Pastor, and you are a Yale graduate, and it was not easy. It
You went
was
to
not
Yale
easy.
too?
Yes,
What? Oh my goodness.
yes, I.
And then don't forget to go back to what happened with the interracial stuff. You know,
Well, it'll come back when
That'll
he
come
comes
back.
to California.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we after graduating, after getting out of the Navy, I came out to California because my wife is from California.
Mm-hmm.
Hint, hint.
Okay.
Man, you will end up where mom, where wife and mom live. So I did end up moving from Virginia to California. She was pregnant when we moved with our
Okay.
first child.
And who's the
Linwood Jr.
Linwood
He's the
Jr.
pilot.
Okay.
He's the awesome guy. They're all
Oh,
awesome.
God,
And then we came out to California. I went to Biola.
oh wow.
Yeah, that was one of those I had a low grade point average in high school, and so the only reason I could get into college was I spent 4 years in the Navy. So then I had some distance between high school and Navy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you
And
brought your GPA up during that time?
No, not at all. Hey, when God works, He works.
He
That's
does.
right.
Wow, that's
So what I did was I picked Christian schools
Mm-hmm.
because I had just gotten saved, and I knew that if anybody would understand a transformation in the lives of anyone, it
Mm-hmm.
would be a Christian school that knew the difference that God can make in our lives
Mm-hmm.
before and after.
right.
And so after receiving Jesus Christ, I had a totally different mindset, totally different motivation,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to follow. I mentioned earlier that wanted to be in medicine, so I was a pre-med major at Biola. I got accepted at Biola on a conditional acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They said, we will take you, but you have to maintain a C average in your first semester. And I had a GI Bill, but I also had the passion and the motivation
Mm-hmm.
now to do something with this life that God had given me.
So you weren't a man that was stupid. You just didn't have the motivation.
Well, when you get
You know,
bullied in high school, who wants
who
to go to
wants to
school
study?
every
You know
day?
what? That's
And
true.
so I just
And study.
I gave up on that.
That's right.
Didn't
That's
want to
right.
continue, didn't want to apply myself.
Right.
Many teachers said, you have what it takes, but of course I wouldn't
No,
listen.
that wasn't the time.
Well, I'm running a little bit low on time,
Oh,
so I
sorry.
do want
No, not- no.
So I want to fast forward to Yale because you did not get accepted the first time.
Oh, yeah. I graduated from Biola. I wanted to go to medical school.
And obviously, a C average and more.
Yeah.
Positive.
Well, by the time I finished Biola, I think I had a 2.4 or 2.6 grade point average. And still wanted to go into medicine and looked at being a physician assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I applied to Yale to go to their PA program,
Mm-hmm.
postgraduate. And first year I went there to interview. I went there on an open house, and I was told, you got everything that we're looking for. But unfortunately, or fortunately, I did not get accepted.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very disappointing.
Do you know why?
Uh,
Had they seen Barbara? You think that had something to do
no,
with
they
it?
hadn't seen Barbara.
Okay.
They had they didn't take too many
Okay. So
minority
they had their
students,
quota already.
and it looked like that was the case.
Mhm.
Probably wasn't, but
Mhm.
it definitely seemed that way because I got in the next year.
Oh, okay.
And so, but that first year we went, we did everything, but then we didn't get in. I came back. I told God where He could go, and He didn't listen to me at all.
No, he didn't.
God just has great shoulders.
Yeah, he
He,
does,
he
doesn't he?
loves us so much.
Yeah.
We can come to Him with anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to Him with the disappointments and told Him I wasn't happy. And then I reapplied the next year, and I got in. And then I subsequently became student president
Oh boy,
of the student society there and graduated from Yale.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So he took all those hurts, all those things, but you didn't quit.
No, there's no
Even
Q
the
in my
midst
name.
Of, you pressed on.
You have
So you
to.
probably have a whole lot of experience. I know he's going to get to the ministry to minister
Not
to many
only
people.
that, once he got rejected and
Mhm.
he told God off and
Yeah.
was still faithful to Him, got into Yale, graduated, was a president of the society,
That's
Jack Hole
amazing.
Society.
hmm
But that wasn't one of his greatest accolades. I have here. You were even a PA at the Good Samaritan Hospital for 10 years, and still that wasn't one of your greatest accolades. You were also president of a Fortune 500 company.
What?
No, I wasn't president.
No,
I
you're
worked for Medtronic,
For
which was a
Medtronic.
Fortune
500
500 company.
So
In
you got
sales,
out of
but
medicine.
I got out of medicine.
Okay.
That's when we adopted our daughters. And then I was looking for a job.
Mhm.
And I got hired on at Medtronic as a sales rep. First as a consultant for a year,
Mhm.
and then as a sales rep. And I had never sold anything in my life, not even shoes.
He got this position without even being a salesman
Oh boy.
and won a high-end position for sales. Not
Yes.
even being a salesman.
And I went on to make President's Club
Oh wow.
at
Wow.
Medtronic.
So
So
God-
that was a great
I
accomplishment.
know I'm trying to move it too. So your heart was changed towards the medical
Yes.
profession.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You adopted daughters.
Yes.
So
Two
all-
lovely girls.
So Abigail and Joanna.
I got Abigail, Joanna, and 3 boys.
Oh, boy.
Linwood Jr., Aaron, and Seth.
Oh, Seth. I have a Seth.
Wow.
Yes, I have a
Yes.
Seth.
Yes.
Wow. Well, you wouldn't. You know what? You wouldn't. Joanna looks like you guys. You know.
Well,
She's your baby. She looks like you, girl.
she's
She looks
part
like
of
you
the
guys.
family.
You know,
She
that's
is the
awesome.
family.
Well, now having adopted 2 children, you find out some news.
Yes.
Is that how
We
it happened?
adopted Abigail in 1991 and Joanne in 1992. And in 1993, my mom, just before she died, said, I have some news for you. You're adopted.
Oh my goodness.
And I
Oh,
didn't know
amazing.
that, so I ended up going to the capital of Virginia and checking the birth records there. And sure enough, I was. That's how I found out
How
about
you found
Coretta.
out? Did you ever try and look her up? Or
I have not tried to look her up. No,
You figure if God, you know, if God wanted that, He could have
He could've.
rearranged
He
that.
would've.
absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
good. We're getting there. So, the
Last
ministry
thing-
now.
The last thing is actually in 2002, you were diagnosed with cancer.
In 2002, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and it was during the time when we were working with Medtronic, but I also was, that's when I started working with men because I had a desire at Viola I heard from God, teach my men to love. So I had the desire to work with men. So I started that in 2002.
Were you already at the Calvary Chapel at this point?
I was at the Calvary Chapel in 1995.
So you know the brokenness
96.
of what men have gone through, and you know the
Absolutely, and I have a heart for men. I love men, and when the men get it, the wives get it,
Oh,
and
God.
the family get it. And my exhortation or my desire is to teach God's men to love. When we learn to love like Jesus loves, it's an awesome continuation, or we pass that on to our family. Our families then see us loving God first, then loving out.
But you know, the thing that's awesome about it is that as a mentor and a disciple, you've been through it. And then you went through the physical adversity.
Yes.
Now, I do remember, so cancer wasn't once, right?
No, it came back in 2010, and we had some radiation after that. So we're excited. We're living on borrowed time.
Oh, man.
And
All of us
now-
are, actually.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Is that amazing?
And now you're the
This
men's
story-
ministry leader at Calvary Chapel. And I would
Yes.
love to get into that story, but that is for another day. But
Okay.
that was also ordained. For you
Yes,
to do.
that was God. That was a God thing. I never imagined that I would ever be a pastor. God had great ideas, and so I thoroughly enjoyed doing that. And Pastor Jack Hibbs at Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, just asked
You
me
had
one
to
day.
have that journey, though.
Yes.
Because I quickly, there's a lady in my church whose husband can relate to our pastor because our pastor is a carpenter electrician. So, you know, I think with women, we get all cozy and warm, but I think men have to have a man to relate to. That's what I'm just thinking.
Oh no,
You
we
had
do.
So many.
You're right on. And
You've
one
had
day-
so many jobs.
Yes.
You've had everything that you got. That, you know, it's like you can just pull out your bag and have all these experiences for these men.
But it's knowing that God is God and we're His kids, and that as men we need to love God first. And that's the number one thing I told my wife. I don't know how to be your husband, and I don't know how to be that awesome dad, but I know that I love Jesus, and if it's in the Bible,
Amen.
I will follow the Bible.
Well, this is
Wow.
an
Encourage all of us to do that.
congratulations
Before
on your
we
health.
let you go,
Mhm.
the premise of our show is joy in my house, and we like to ask this of all our guests, and I would love to hear the joy that you have in your house. What does joy in my house mean to you?
Joy in my house means getting up in the morning first and spending time with God, getting my marching orders from Him, and then the joy of the Lord becomes my strength, Nehemiah 8:10, for the rest of my day. And I love doing what God has before me. I have a phrase, God shows Himself off, and He does that almost every day. I'm just ready to do whatever He wants me to do. I'm here for Him and for Him to use. And that's joy. That's hope. That's knowing that God has an awesome plan for us. And all we have to do is just to say, yes, Lord. He's the Lord of our lives. Make Him the Lord of our lives, and man, the joy of the Lord will be our strength.
Oh my goodness! And no matter what adversity, even facing cancer, He's kept going.
Pastor Lynn Walls, I want to
thank
thank
you
you for
so
coming on the show.
much.
Yes.
Thank
And
you so
love
much.
to
You've
Thanks
been
for having me.
inspiration and encouragement, hopefully to our viewers and our audience out
And
there.
Van, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
Wow.
Joy in My House. If you missed it, you're going to want to catch the recap. Next week, we're going to have a great Mother's Day special. On Friday, May 10th, Lolita will be performing and singing and giving her testimony at Park Crest Christian Church in Long Beach at 10th for a Celebrate Recovery event. You're not going to want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joy in My House. I hope that you have been blessed as we have. Have
Yeah.
a great, great day.
Have a great happy Cinco de
Blessings.
Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Joy in My House, ladies and
Bye
gentlemen.
bye.